Hello, beautiful people in the world. Okay, so I might post this, I might not. I'm probably gonna post it because I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care about the monetization. I don't care about anything other than asking what people really think about what's going on. So I can't tell if I'm having a mental breakdown or if the world is having a complete mental breakdown. And I get the feeling that people as Americans have gotten really, really distracted from what's important. And I know somebody out there is probably going to say something about, oh, well, you don't know, you don't have perspective because of who you are and what you look like. Well, I don't classify people and their experiences by race, sex, orientation, or national origin, anything like that. I classify people on their actions and how they progress through the world. So, small backstory on me. Grew up very, very poor in rural Northern California. I say very poor because at times we were homeless. At times we had to do different things. At times we had limited food options and housing options, all that stuff. Bootstraps and all that good stuff. And so my perspective goes from excessively poor to low middle class. And I've seen, and I have friends, and I have people that are in the upper echelons, close to the 1%, but that's an ever-moving tidal wave, except for the people that make the money at the top, right? So it seems to me like Americans have forgotten en masse that it's okay to try to change what is wrong with the situation, but you're forgetting your power. The American people own this country. The government does not own this country. The federal government does not own this country. They are only existing off of the privilege that we give them to exist. And I mean that sincerely. The American people as a whole own this country. The citizens of this country own the country. There is no, well, you gotta do what I gotta say and you gotta follow these government provisions. No. And emphatically no. Because that's not how our founding documents were written. Whether you agree with them or not, they were written from the perspective of the people own this thing. We own it. Those people that have been in that House of Representatives in Congress for 40, 50 years that have forgotten the fact that they are servants. They are servants to the American people. Now, somewhere along the lines, that got all twisted up and weird. And there's a bunch of reasons why. I would start notably by looking at the allowance of Project Paperclip to even exist. The fact that we allowed that to happen was probably one of the big benchmarks of our government not being what we should force it to be. These wars that we're fighting that aren't for good moral reasons, the wars that we are involved in for economics that the people only suffer from. We suffer from it. The elites make millions and trillions of dollars, and we suffer from the things that they are doing without really our consent, en masse. At least this is what I garner from conversations that I have with regular people. If somebody would like to have a conversation with me about how this country got this way, how we think we can change it without full-out war, because I'm really tired of that as a response. I'm really sick of that as a response, that we are degrading ourselves to the point to where, well, I don't agree with you, I'm gonna shoot you in the face. Okay. I mean, if it comes to that, it comes to that. That should be the last ditch effort. That should be the, listen, we've told you to stop stepping on us for a really long time. If you continue to step on us, I'm gonna make it so you can't step on me. That should be everybody's attitude. But there should be a lengthy conversation beforehand. And I would like to have that conversation if somebody would like to have it with me. Don't really care who you are. Don't care what side you rest on. I just want to have a conversation. Because I think that's how we fix things. I think that getting away from the fake entertainment sector, which I'm not talking about not watching movies. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I am talking specifically about things that are purpose-built to distract us. Your TikToks, your Facebook Reels, your YouTube Reels, these short little videos that don't really give you context on a situation, but they throw a dopamine response up in your brain and they're like, bink, okay, that's happy. All right, that's not. That may be happy, that's not fulfillment. I think we've run the social media experiment long enough to realize that this is not the avenue that we really, really want to go. Being an influencer, or being an actor, or being all these things that we have elevated to a point of unbelievable status in society is asinine. That's the entertainment, people. It's just the entertainment. If they were other than entertainment, they would do things. And I know I'm kind of rambling, but this is a starter video, and we'll see how it pans out from here. But honestly, all these things are connected. They're all correlated. They aren't microcosms. The world is not an isolated event. And they aren't a string of isolated events. They are a string of connected events that have joining features. And that goes across the board. It's another thing that we need to remember about our world and about our actions and about how we meander in this meat suit around the world. The vehicle in which we take, as it were, needs to be kind. And we can really stop with the hyperinflation of status, because does anybody really give a shit? At your core, do you really give a fuck what other people think? Or do you just want to be accepted for who you are, go to a job that you enjoy doing, go home to your family or your dog or whatever that family looks like, and live out your damn life? It should really be the focus of how we are addressing the ideas that are coming up in our generation. Because we know information's free. And I hope that's the downfall of these agendas that seem to be coming through the woodwork. This centralized digital banking thing, I don't know how that's gonna pan out. That sounds a lot like tax on tea from the British. Only they're trying to do it on a world mass. And I say they, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I believe there are things that happen that we are not privy to. But the fact is, they're saying stuff out loud that is very Orwellian. And if you haven't read Orwell, I recommend reading Orwell. He's a gentleman who saw things happening long before they ever put into action. But it should be terrifying how closely related the Orwellian novels are to present day actions in our local and world governments. These are insane things. The idea that we're not going to have control or autonomy over our currency and have any kind of backing other than air and wishes and dreams and trust. What? I don't think so. That's not okay. I don't think anybody's okay with that. And delegating the responsibility of all of our income to an entity who not only started the game, they wrote the rules, and then they messed up the game. Like, how do you invent the game and own the game and know the rules and make the rules and enforce the rules, and you still end up in debt? How does that even happen? It happens from greed. It happens from a dissolution of perspective. And it happens from people who are not interested in making America a country where the citizens are the focus. It comes from people who are more focused on their bank account and their family lineage. And that's not what we should be focused on, at least in my opinion, as a country. And in a short address of the expression-based issues that are seemingly going on in this country right now, I want to put this out here before anybody gets into this conversation with me. Hopefully they do, because I am very open and I'm willing to have open conversations about different ideas. I will draw the line, and I will always draw the line at a level of consent for children for expression. As a parent, you have that choice to navigate that world with your child and how much you want to do that, how much you want to facilitate their vision of their own expression at any age. That's the parent's job. As far as a legal donation or a legal subset across the board for children to have autonomy for their medical practices, I will always disagree with that. And you're never going to convince me otherwise. There are extenuating circumstances that come in all situations. There is no generality created by life. Everything is different, and the devil's in the details. So I'm not going to start that kind of argument. What I will say is, any permanent decisions made by children usually don't pan out very well. I said usually. They usually don't pan out very well. It is the job of the parent or the adult guardian to respect the child and their thoughts, but not allow the child to make decisions rashly that affect the rest of their existence. Because you're children, you're still a baby. You don't know what the world has to offer. You don't know what's really important to you. And that's across the board. You don't. And if you think you do, you're probably a kid. And if you're older than 18 and you think you know what you want and know what you need and you know yourself fully, I don't think you do. And I would be willing to ask any psychologist, any clinical psychologist, if people really know what they need. So on that premise, opening up this line of conversation and this conversation that I would like to have with people, what are we doing? And why are we allowing the people that we have elected into office do things that are way outside of the scope of our betterment as a country? I'm curious. At my heart of hearts, I love people. I love all people. I love humans. But I don't really care what's happening in other countries unless it directly affects me. And I know that sounds callous. It kind of closed off in the heart. But it's not my job to fix other people's problems. It's their job to fix their problems. And I am calling to Americans, as an American, we need to fix our problems. There's no reason for us to be in debt as a country. There's no reason to have the kind of tax structure that we have. There's no reason to allow these government elected officials to profiteer off of their service and continue a legacy of a government class of people precipitated through their own families and friends and never reaching common people. We haven't had a common person in Congress, at least to my knowledge, in a very long time. So anyway, that's my rant. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I would love to have a conversation with somebody about these issues and what's going on in the world. Hit me up. I love y'all. Stay safe. Read between the lines. And remember what's really important about life.